The Fox and the Grapes, in a lush green countryside, where the hills rolled like the backs of sleeping giants and the air was sweet with the scent of wildflowers. There lived a clever but often impatient fox named Felix. Felix was known far and wide, not just for his fiery red coat and bushy tail, but for his quick wit and cunning mind. He was a wanderer. Some said he was a philosopher, always asking questions about the world. Others said he was a trickster who'd rather lie than hunt. But one thing was certain: Felix the Fox never liked to admit defeat. One late summer afternoon, the sun hung low in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the forest floor. Felix hadn't eaten all day. His stomach growled like a thunderstorm, reminding him that it had been too long since his last proper meal. He had chased a rabbit that morning, but lost it in a thicket of brambles. A badger he tried to outwit had growled so fiercely that Felix turned tail and fled. Even the squirrels were too quick for him today. As he trotted along a familiar path he had often taken during better times, he found himself on the edge of a vineyard, a place he knew well. The vines stretched endlessly in neat rows, heavy with clusters of dark purple grapes, fat and ripe, glistening in the golden light. The sweet aroma of the fruit drifted down from the trellises, and Felix's mouth began to water. "Ah," he said aloud, tail twitching, "what fortune smiles upon me today?" The vineyard was surrounded by a low wooden fence, but Felix, agile as ever, leaped over it with ease. He padded silently beneath the vines, his eyes scanning the hanging fruit. There, in the center of the vineyard, was the largest and most beautiful bunch of grapes he had ever seen. They hung from a high trellis, higher than most, nearly twice the height of a fox standing on its hind legs. Each grape was plump, the color of polished amethyst, with dew still clinging to their skin. They looked almost too perfect to be real. Felix's stomach growled again, louder this time. "Well," he said, licking his lips, "this should be easy enough." He crouched low, then leapt into the air with all the strength he could muster. His paws scraped the bottom leaves, but he missed the grapes entirely. He murmured, brushing the dust from his fur. "Just a warm-up jump." He tried again and again. Each time he leaped higher, his body arcing gracefully, but always just too short. Felix began to pant, his tongue lolling from his mouth. Sweat dampened his fur. Still, he would not give up. He backed up several paces and ran toward the trellis for momentum. He leapt and fell harder this time, landing with a grunt. "Who puts grapes that high?" he muttered. "What kind of farmer needs fruit all the way up there?" Nearby, a small sparrow perched on a branch watched him with curious eyes. "Having trouble, Fox?" she chirped. Felix, startled, looked up and forced a confident grin. "Trouble? Not at all. Just inspecting the quality of these grapes." "They look delicious," the sparrow said, cocking her head. "But a bit high, don't you think?" "Only for those with small wings and even smaller ambition," Felix replied. "I just haven't decided to reach them yet." The sparrow chuckled softly and fluttered away, leaving Felix alone again beneath the unreachable treasure. Felix sat down under the trellis, his chest rising and falling. He stared at the grapes, now swaying gently in the breeze, as if mocking him. I could climb the post, he thought, but the wood was smooth and offered no footholds. He tried once, but slipped and fell hard on his side. He lay there for a while, watching the clouds drift overhead. His body ached, but more than that, his pride was bruised. Then came the voices in his head, the critical ones. You're the clever fox, the brilliant one, the one who always finds a way. So why can't you reach some simple grapes? Felix growled under his breath. He hated that voice. He hated that the grapes were still there, hanging effortlessly, still sweet, still perfect, still utterly out of reach. And so, slowly, deliberately, he stood up. He shook out his fur, lifted his chin, and looked at the grapes once more. Then he narrowed his eyes and said aloud, with a scoff, "You know what? I don't even want them." There was no one around to hear it, but he said it anyway. They're probably sour. Yes, that's it. Look at them overripe, maybe even spoiled. What kind of bugs have been crawling on them? I'm sure they're bitter as acorns. Poisonous, even. Grapes that high up, not natural. He turned sharply and began walking away, tail high, ears alert. "Bah," he muttered. Sour grapes. That's all they were, but the words sounded hollow in his mouth. Suddenly, from the bushes nearby, a young rabbit emerged blissfully unaware of the fox's presence. Felix's instincts kicked in. He darted forward, quick as lightning. The rabbit shrieked and ran, but Felix was fast, faster than he had been all day. With a graceful pounce, he caught the rabbit by the scruff. Dinner, at last. Later, as he chewed contentedly under the stars, he thought again about the grapes. Not with hunger, but with a quiet, gnawing curiosity. What if they hadn't been sour? What if they had been the sweetest grapes he'd ever tasted? What if he'd just tried a little harder, or thought of a better way? Felix didn't like those questions. They made him feel human. So he finished his meal, curled his tail around himself, and whispered one last time, "Sour grapes." Definitely. But in the silence of the night, even he didn't quite believe it. The end.